Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football Dill. Saturday night, the commitments are pouring in for Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes out of the transfer portal as we got three commitments to talk about. I think the most notable two, NC State linebacker Kamal Bonner, BYU wide receiver Keelan Marion. You also have kicker Burt Auburn coming from Texas, which Dill sneaky I like a lot. Look, Miami's going to be in a lot of close games, and you want to have a kicker that not only can make the kicks, but has been in those moments. Burt Auburn's been in a lot of big moments for Texas over the last couple of years. Was it a perfect day in the transfer portal for the Miami Hurricanes? No, probably not. There were a couple of big names that went elsewhere earlier today. Dill, if I told Miami Hurricane fans that you could land a bona fide starting linebacker at the power four level in Kamal Bonner, Keelan Marion, a very coveted wide receiver coming from BYU. It feels like just the last missing piece here is AJ Hollister from Houston. If you land those three players, I think there'd be a lot of Miami fans who are very happy with that transfer portal haul in the spring. Now, we got a lot to talk about. Fired up to get into it. Before we do, and as always, to the Miami Hurricane fans who are taking some time out of their Saturday night, which I'm sure is infinitely more exciting than our Saturday nights, to listen to the boys talk some ball. Can't thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. Dill, without further ado, can I take the wheel real quick for Kamal Bonner? Dill, young linebacker, 3 years of eligibility remaining. Kind of got thrusted into a starting role in the back half of the season for NC State. A little bit underdeveloped, still want to kind of add a little bit more weight to his frame. This dude just flies around the football field and finds the ball carrier. The one thing that maybe you want to see get cleaned up is the 25% missed tackle rate. That's a little bit too high. But at the end of the day, he's a young linebacker getting better. Dill, 24 run stops last year, only playing 490 snaps. And this is not going to be meant to be a shot at Wesley Bissain. Wesley Bissain played over 600 snaps last year and only had 16 run stops. That just tells you the way Kamal Bonner can find the ball carrier, pick through traffic, and go be an impact at the linebacker position. At the end of the day, this is a guy that has shown you he can play linebacker at the power four level, do it at a high level. But at the same time, Dill, he's only getting better as a football player going into year 3 of his career. I was, kind of indifferent on Kamal Bonner, doing a little bit more diving. There is a lot to like if you're a Miami Hurricane fan here.
Especially because you did want to add another guy who's played. And you're kind of excited about what Bobby Pruitt could be. You're excited about what Aguirre can be. But so far, you haven't seen them play consistent enough where you feel really comfortable about your linebacker room with Wesley Bissain and kind of whoever is going to go with him. And now with Kamal Bonner, again, I'm not necessarily going to say he's easily going to beat out Aguirre, Popo, Pruitt.
Popo and Pruitt.
Those guys are going to play, I think. But at least now I think you have raised the floor of this room by quite a bit. And that's really what Miami is probably targeting for.
But Dill, at the same time, you raise the ceiling. And that's what stands out to me about this portal get. Is it's normally hard.
That's probably fair because I almost Jalen Alderman, he was always a floor raiser. He was not a ceiling raiser. Jalen Alderman is probably not who Miami in a perfect world has playing the bulk of their linebacker snaps. Kamal Bonner, you're right. I mean, he is, at the end of the day, I probably got to give him more credit for being as young as he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's played a lot, but that doesn't mean he's not a really young player.
Yeah, and I mean, Dill, you want one more thing to sell the Miami fans on this kid? Go check out what the NC State fans were saying when Kamal Bonner left. They thought the damn world was ending. They were really upset when Kamal Bonner left this program. That tells you you're probably getting a decent football player. I'm a fan, and Dill, average depth of tackle on those run stops, 1.9 yards down the field. That he's firing downhill, making plays at the line of scrimmage. 7 tackles for a loss last year. Has some sneaky pass rushing chops. The last thing I'll say with Kamal Bonner, he gives you some flexibility in personnel. I look at that week 1 game against Notre Dame. What are they going to try to do? They're going to try to run the football a lot. Maybe you want to play a little less nickel and play a little bit more 3 linebacker sets. Well, Kamal Bonner can be that 3rd linebacker where, he gives you a little bit more juice and run support, but also is the athlete enough to play in space and deal with some slot wide receivers or tight ends, which is hard to find at the linebacker position. There's a lot to like here with Kamal Bonner. Was really one of the better linebackers available in the portal. Next one, and probably the bigger name for Miami Hurricane fans, Keelan Marion. Dill, and I said this earlier today, and I'll say it again. I think there are a lot of people smarter than me. Like, there's a reason I'm sitting here in my basement doing this. I didn't necessarily immediately see it with Keelan Marion when I went back to some of the BYU stuff. Everyone else does. Like, everyone else does. He's a top 100 kid in the portal, the 18th best wide receiver, 92 ranking. Dill, what I think here is, look, and here's my hot take. Sorry to kind of like go on a little bit. You bring in Keelan Marion. Are we even positive that he starts for Miami in terms of your starting 3 wide receivers? I'm not sure. I think what you love here is this is a proven wide receiver that brings much needed experience into the room. But they're like, it says a little bit more about what I think of some of these young cats in this wide receiver room. I love the addition. Just another difference maker that can do a bunch of different things getting added into a young wide receiver room.
Yeah, and we've talked about this. I don't know that as much as he's ranked higher and the services will have it as a more significant addition by that metric, I'm not sure I'd put him over Bonner in terms of what he brings to Miami, mainly for the reason which you said. Miami is really talented in the wide receiver room. They've recruited the position really well. So again, Keelan Marion kind of comes into the mix a little bit more than standing out from the pack, I would say, at this point. Keelan Marion still has more to prove, I'd say, as a wide receiver. Never been ultra productive at that. He's obviously a great kick returner, but not a great receiver yet. And again, he hasn't been in an offense as explosive as what I think Miami could be, so that certainly excites you. But I do look, Kamal Bonner is probably the bigger addition just because I think that linebacker floor needed to be raised a little bit. Keelan Marion, I think, enters into the mix, and it does add you some depth and some experience for sure, but I think the Kamal Bonner one was the big one for today.
Yeah, you're making it like a competition. Like, whoa, we got to pick between these two guys. But I probably would agree. I probably would. And now some Miami fans might disagree. And that, again, to me, it's not like I don't like Keelan Marion. There's a lot of people who are smarter than me that love this cat. There's a lot of programs that wanted to add him over the last couple of days. For me, it just tells you more about what I think of these wide receivers. Now, here's the big thing, though. Like, look at Miami. You look at the goals that Miami has in the 2025 year. It's not to win 8 football games. Like, it's to win the ACC championship, make a run in the college football playoffs. You got to be deep at all. We normally talk about depth along the lines of scrimmage. You look at the wide receiver and just say from a pure number standpoint, it was thin. And like out of your 6 guys in your 2 deep, 3 of them are going to be true freshmen to open up the year. Now, we think all 3 of those guys can play. Do you want to have to always rely on those 3 true freshman pass catchers? No, probably not. And you bring in a guy like Keelan Marion, who I will say that my favorite part about the fit here is that he can play all over, like boundary, slot, good separator, can work vertically, quite good after the catch too, as you'd imagine with the kick returning chops. And a Shannon Dawson offense that is really good at manufacturing space. Having a wide receiver that can be a difference maker in space with the football in their hands, I think is big. The last thing, and I'm sorry, I'm going to rambling on a Saturday night here. You wanted to make sure you had enough pieces around Carson Beck. And I know you were skeptical of how much Miami needed a pass catcher. Like, to me, I wanted to see them make one more addition. You go out, you get really aggressive to keep a guy like Carson Beck out of the draft. Very severe, weirdly similar to the Cam Ward situation. You want to make sure the pieces are in place. Carson Beck in 2023 with the adequate weapons was one of the best quarterbacks in the country. In 2024, when those weapons weren't good enough, he struggled a little bit. You want to make sure you have the guys. We know the offensive line's there. We know the run game's there. You wanted to make sure you had the pass catchers there, and Keelan Marion goes a long way in terms of shoring that up. Still, last pickup. Like, hey, nobody want to talk about kickers because Miami just takes them for granted. You just get good kickers all the time, so you don't have to think about it that much. For us peasant college football fans, sometimes you got to think about kickers not making 40-yard field goals. What I love about this, though, is like he's been in these moments. Like, Miami, if you're a Miami Hurricane fan, you're going to have to be in those moments sometimes where you need a big field goal in big times. Like, Bert Auburn has kicked a lot of big games, kicked in a lot of big
He's going to need a bounce back because he really struggled down the stretch for Georgia. He was so good in 23, I feel like. And then 24 good for most of the year, and then the wheels really
You
fell
got
off
the
on him.
yips,
So
man, in Texas.
that's
Yeah.
going to be something like, yeah, you certainly are probably be looking for.
Oh, change
Because
of scenery, man.
he's a very capable kicker. We've seen him make the kicks that you're supposed to make, or no, like a very much above average kicker at the college level, let's say, from the 20 to the 23 year. But that 24 year, yeah, we're going to need to see what
it
Miami
was the
can do to get
yips.
him back on track, because he'll need to.
You're not a golfer, so you don't understand the yips. They happen to
Yeah,
everybody. Yeah, I ain't really much of a golfer either. I try to be. Palm trees, different change of scenery. Maybe not having those lunatic Longhorn fans like coming at you. I think it will help Bert Auburn. Like a change of scene. Hopefully, no Texas fans are listening 10 minutes in on a transfer portal episode for Miami. I think the change of scenery will help him. And again, I love having kickers that have been in those moments, and Bert Auburn has. We'll close it out there. Big Saturday night for the Canes. Appreciate you guys again. Nothing we'd rather be doing. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Talk to y'all later. Peace.